T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Walk to Westport.
All right, welcome everybody to another edition of the Best Grow Show. Got a pretty freaking rad panel today, and that's why 9 out of 10 pencil users said this is the Best Grow Show. Now, I do just kind of jest, because there are many others, but I see Rick down there. Uncle Rick, are you a number 2 guy, or are you a mechanical pencil guy?
Oh boy, that was a leading question. I'm sorry, my mind went to a terrible place when you asked about if I was a number 2 guy or not. So we're gonna have to
no.
That one.
Oh no, I remember your joke now. I remember your joke. Piece of oh, okay.
Oh gee. Hey, Chad, thank you so much for having us, my friend. Thank you so much. Welcome. Good to see everybody in chat. Hillbilly, Decoy Bacon, Dr. Leave Me Alone. Gonna be a great day.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining me today and for the entire crew kind of joining us, the cast here. I'm going to go from what I see on the screen. First up, I see Russ, Mr. Spartan Grown. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Chad, man. It's always fun to come here and talk to you.
I enjoy it, man. It's kind of actually been a little bit too long. I know we've done it a couple of times, and I was just thinking earlier, so you were on episode 2 of Just One Thing. Probably 2 years ago now, about how to properly water. And today, I still think that is the number 1 Just One Thing episode. So thank you for that. Yeah, a lot of people getting a lot of a use out of it. And you had some rad suggestions. It did. It made me go out and buy the little measuring cups again. So milliliter precise. No. Sometimes that helps.
It definitely helps me, man. It just, I don't know. I think that was the thing that I find for everyone. It's the hardest thing to explain to a new grower or even an old grower. Set in their ways is how to properly water your plant. And you think that's the easy day one thing, but it's not easy.
Yeah, and it's crazy too to me, without spending too much time on it, but you can water and you can be fine, you could get good yields and you're doing things, pretty right. But when you really nail your watering regimen, like throughout the whole cycle, dude, that makes a big difference. So yeah, keep playing around.
Yeah, actually, shout out Spartan. Chad, you reminded me of that episode, and yeah, you did. You explained it in a way. I mean, it's been explained so many different ways, but I highly recommend go back and check out that episode again.
Thank you, Rick.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
And next to Spartan, I see Emily here. Anything Grows. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm glad that you joined us today. We've talked on the Let's Be Budz show many times and kind of behind the scenes. I remember, we were talking when you were first starting to grow. So I'm really stoked to have you on today to kind of hear maybe how things have gone, what things you've learned in the meantime. And I see you doing veggies too. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely have found my toe dipped into a few things now since starting to grow. And I'm stoked to be on a show with you on your show. I don't get to catch your show very often with the time. So I'm so glad it worked out today.
Yeah, and thank you for making the time, because it's part of the complete crew. And the person that really rounds it out, that makes it all work, the man with the raddest t-shirt on the show today, Dave, LittleEbud. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
What's going on, Chad? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for joining us today. Now, I've seen you in front of the camera a bit more now on the Let's Be Budz show, but for a while you were kind of the man behind the scenes, and you still are. You're making a lot of the stuff happen and doing some of the graphics. So hats off to that, man.
It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know what would happen if I took a week off. I really don't know what would happen.
Don't even go there, my friend. Don't even go there.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to make your workload harder too, because I want to ask you for one of the graphics that we were showing on the show Wednesday on your channel for this amazing upcoming thing we're doing, which we'll announce here shortly, but it's right. Kind of a mind blower. But yeah, I'd love to get that graphic and post it up for everybody to see, because big things going on.
No problem.
Yep. And kind of in that vein, before we get going, I want to give away pack seats. I want to give away pack Westport Grape Juice. I always like to say, early bird gets the worm. Thank you, everybody. Hey. 113 of you who have already showed up. We're going to give away a pack of the Westport Posse. I'm going to put up a word here in a moment, and then you guys will just type it into chat. US only. I do apologize for that, but that's kind of the way it goes.
I am desperate to know, can panel participate?
Absolutely.
All right.
Do we have Chad covered, Rick, if the Canadian winner wins?
Say it again.
Do we have Chad covered if a Canadian winner wins?
Actually, I do have some of your genetics here, Chad. If you want to,
really?
I'd be more than happy to send out. If a Canadian wins, we can send out some of your gear from Canada.
Sure.
That would be amazing. That would be awesome. Yeah. Thank you for
nice suggestion. I love that. Shout out to Uncle Rick. Always got the back of our Canadian friends.
Right. Yes, definitely. This isn't the first time you've hooked up a Canadian winner from this show, so I do appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's a two-way street, because that I'll be growing for life. I provided him with some of your genetics here in Canada, and now he's one of our loyal followers on the show. So there you go.
Nice. All right. Well, I'll share the screen. So yeah, America, Canada, you can play. Just go ahead and type open into the chat thing. That's what it is. The chat. Type open. And again, I appreciate you all for being here early, for hanging out. It's going to be a fun day. We've got a really awesome topic, I think, and it was something that I think is very applicable to this panel. So kind of how we came about it is I do have my website up now. It's thechadwestport.com. And I've got, people can drop me an email here. Let me go over to it here real quick. So, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I got it up. Okay, there we go. So, the chadwestport.com website, you could go here. You can check out, check out some of the Twin Peaks stuff, some of the writing, videos, ask me a question, discount codes, and the dope history. We've got the store here where you can check stuff out. Cool stuff. Yay. And then the info tab. Now the info tab, if you want to check out some of my writings for these companies, cool. Here's a link to that Just One Thing series where you can find the video with Spartan. But at the bottom, I have this. If you have questions, and Grumpy Toad, big shout out to Grumpy Toad. He saw this at the bottom of the website. and said, I got a topic for you. And so I would encourage anybody that has a topic that they want to have covered on the show, hit me up on that email, and I will try to get to as many of them as I can on the show, answering your questions there. I probably won't be able to get back to all of the emails directly, but hopefully we bring it up on the show, because a lot of people watching have the same kind of questions. I mean, that's kind of the one beauty of doing shows like this and having a diversified panel like this, is we all have similar results, but different paths to get there. And the question that I wanted to bring up, and again, shout out to Grumpy Toad, but the question that he had is, I hear shows say consumers only have to pick their product based on THC. I get that and understand why that, oh, I'm messing this up already. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, and so I am giving away a pack of Westport Posse as a consolation. If you're in Canada or America, just type open in the chat. Uncle Rick's wearing off on me. What are you doing? I've got Uncle Rickitis right now. This is horrible.
Way to change the subject.
It is a dreadful disease. You got to just smoke a lot of weeds. That way, that's what you combat it with.
All right. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to start this over again. Okay. So Grumpy Toad hit me up from the website, and he had a question, and this is an awesome topic that we're going to talk about today. It says, how to find the strain medicinally that works for you. How do you go about that? And he says he hears shows say consumers only know how to pick their product based on THC. I get that and understand why that would be a criteria for folks. But what I never hear is any type of concise information to educate people on how to go about this. I realize that this is extremely subjective, but some info on terpenes, flavonoids, cannabinoids would go a long way. Fabulous, Grumpy Toad. Thank you so much for that contribution. Thank you for emailing me. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So you kind of hit it on the head as far as it's, different for everybody. So, well, God, Uncle Rickitis. How many people here use it for medicine and recreation, or just recreation? I'm using it. Yeah, I got 2 hands up. So we all, again, so good panel here. We got 2 hands up. Nice. All right, before I get into this, because I'm never going to stop because this is a great topic, let's give away these seeds real quick. All right, everybody, 113 of you, good luck.
Good luck, everybody.
If you are the winner, just hit me up on
this
the
is a
DMs.
good medicine right here. You watch Chad's show, you get seeds. Yes. Pop along.
Yes.
Congrats, Papa.
Yeah, way to
Congratulations. Go. And let us know in chat if you are US or Canada, and then we will get you the appropriate package. But I'm just going to put down the Westport Posse right now. So congratulations. I'll leave that up for a second. And all right. I'm going to keep my eye on chat too, because I know you guys have a lot to probably contribute to the conversation and the topic as well. All right. So yes, hit it on the head. Everybody's body is different. Does anybody here want to maybe quickly talk about the endocannabinoid system, or like why it can potentially work as medicine for people?
Well, everybody has an endocannabinoid system because that's just in the body. So everybody, as far as I know, has cannabinoids that are produced already inside of them. So when you consume cannabis, it adds to those cannabinoids that you're processing.
Which is kind of crazy. And that's how they found, I believe it was in 63 or something, Dr. Mishulam found THC, because we have receptors in our body that do. We naturally make cannabinoids, the endocannabinoids. What we're getting from the plant is phytocannabinoids. So it's kind of crazy that we have built-in receptors for this plant, right?
My take on those receptors, just from somebody who like I began using cannabis medicinally. I didn't use it recreationally or anything like that beforehand. But when I first started using it, it was really kind of like trying to figure out how to use it, because for me, medically, I'm using it for pain control. I'm using it for nausea control. I'm using it for mental health, whether it be to pull me out of depression or to help me cope through anxiety or to mitigate symptoms of schizophrenia. So I had to find different ways to use it and different ratios to use it in. And so learning about that endocannabinoid system and realizing there is some already in me, understanding that there are things like the terpenes or the, what are the other ones called?
The cannabinoids,
There's-
the terpenes.
The cannabinoids and the terpenes, like figuring out those are different in the plants, understand, like, even though I don't understand a lot of like the scientific part of those, understanding that, hey, this one is similar and I feel that same effect from it. So that's how I've kind of found which ones to aim for, but it really does depend on what you're trying to medicate, I feel like, because it's different what you can do or how you approach it. And also, if you're trying to do, like I said, I have a lot of sort of things I'm trying to deal with, not setting off another one. I can smoke the shit out of something and help my body pain be buffered back, but now I'm going to have a bit more panic and anxiety. I have to worry if that's going to trigger any type of a hallucination to deal with, and figuring out a balance for that.
Because we know just in traditional medicine there is a lot of drug on drug interaction, because you mentioned a few different things there, and collectively cannabis can help them, but individually as well. And that's, I think, what you're saying is pain management is one thing, nausea is kind of another thing. And even with pain, because that's usually the number one question, I try to be like, is it a muscle pain? Is it like a joint pain? Is it bone? There are different kinds of pains too. So you can always narrow it down.
Find nerve pain's one of the hardest ones to find something that works for. Nerve pain's a tough one.
And you mentioned terpenes, and real quick, I just wanted to bring up a paper. It is 12 years old now, but I think it's the basis for a lot of studies. It was by Dr. Ethan Russo, 2011, actually, so 13 years now, but Taming THC, Potential Cannabis Synergy and Phytocannabinoid Terpene Entourage Effects. This was kind of the study that really piqued my interest in how terpenes can kind of help steer. This is an excellent one if anybody wants to read, a science-y article. Definitely well worth it, and this will send you down the rabbit hole. So I'll go ahead and put that link in chat here real quick. But yeah, terpenes, cannabinoids, I think they have a big synergistic effect that can control the outcome. Do any of you guys kind of have that feeling, or have you experienced maybe some terpenes hit you in a different way than others?
I think that you also have to consider when talking about it, though, is access, because I don't shop at a dispensary. I don't have that printout that, call it reliable or not, but I don't have a printout of what those terpenes are. And then financially, I don't have the money to test what I can grow for myself or what others can supply. So I know a strain and a taste or a feeling, but I wouldn't be able to identify that specific terpene that's making a difference.
It's a good point, because aside from the Westport grape juice, I don't have analytics on any of my other stuff. But that is kind of where the importance of lineage takes place too, because you can try to glean some information from that. But Russ, you were going to say something there?
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, I came from it when I started early in Michigan in the caregiver system. I came at it like I grew cannabis before I smoked cannabis. I was growing cannabis for my uncle who had pancreatic cancer at the time, stage 4, and I was a caregiver for a couple of other patients in the state, and I kind of came at it from I've always been interested in plant medicines. So like Emily can attest to, I'll stop and tell you that's a plantain you're walking on. That's not a weed. That's That's a medicine. That's a medicinal plant, and you know, you can chew that up and get rid of the pain of a bee sting. Or, anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. And so I was coming at it more from an herbal side of things. I think that's why I liked. I early gravitated toward making RSO, what it was called at the time. I'll just call it cannabis oil because it's just so controversial. So, but a cannabis oil really is just a very common technique that is used in the herbal world because they usually do tinctures. Everything's a lot of tinctures. And so it's just a boiled down tincture is all it is. So to me, it was very familiar. And I'd seen how other plants could heal. And then when I started using specifically cannabis oil with my uncle and seeing it work there when conventional science wasn't even working, that's what got me on the road of really believing. But you run into that roadblock really early on of everybody's different. So what one strain, you know, if that worked really well on patient 1, it may not work really well on patient 2. And it gets a little frustrating. But for me, as a grower, one of my favorite things is to grow new strains. So for me to be always cycling new strains, and so that my patients, and another deal I had was my patients always got, you know, a few grams of the first harvest of any new strain. You know, they'd be getting, and free of charge too, on top of what they were already getting. Nice. Just because I wanted that feedback. I wanted the feedback from them, and I wanted them to be able to try everything before they decided to, you know, grab anything. Let them know what they were choosing. And so it would be weird to see one person that really helped them, the next person that didn't, you know, affect them at all. So you had to kind of just hunt down a strain that would work. So unfortunately, it's not very efficient, I guess, but it is fun as a grower to get cycled through a lot of strains and to be able to give your patients, if you have the ability to, a bunch of strains to cycle through. It's just literally that. Try it and see how it affects you. Don't try it with 10 different things. Try it the first smoke of the day. Sit with it. See how it actually affects you. Write that down. You know what I mean? Things like that. It sounds simple and like, oh, I could have come up with that. Well, yeah, but nobody wants to do the work. So that really is how it's to do it, because you have to remember they've already identified over 100 cannabinoids, but you're not going to be, you might get a list of 20 or 30 cannabinoids and what their effects are in people, but you don't know what those 100 do. You don't know what they do in combination with the other cannabinoids and terpenes, and oh my God, we can go right down the list of all the different volatile compounds. Just try it. Don't get lost. Sometimes you can get lost in the science and trying to identify every little thing, but you have to understand we're on the edge of science right now. We're still figuring this stuff out. So while we're still trying to figure this stuff out and we get the white papers to prove us right or wrong, try it out. Just try it and see how it affects you. And I can't really stress that more.
I mean, keeping it simple is great advice, because we're in its infancy. We know about this much. And like you said, those cannabinoids, there's 100, but we're lucky if we get 5 on the package that they test for. So keeping a journal based off of personal experience is going to be an important thing. I think one of the detriments of the recreational system, the detriment of not growing yourself, is that you can go to a store and say, okay, Blue Dream, wow, this really knocked it out of the park for me. But the next time you go back and you buy another Blue Dream, it could be completely different strain in reality. So that maybe too is where hopefully some of the analytics on the labels can help people narrow things down more than just a strain name. But yeah, growing yourself is really the best to it.
Yeah, I think that's my experience, and with the commercial scenes, I don't trust it. So even strain names aren't sacred. I mean, that's something that's changed. So the only real way, if you're looking for a medicinal answer, I couldn't stress enough, is to either grow it yourself or find somebody else who can home grow it that's near you. Because for that very reason, you can guarantee to be getting the same thing again and again. And once you find that thing that works, that's so hard in the commercial scene to find that, because it's so commercial. Everybody wants the new thing. So they'll even take the old stuff that was named, we'll say Blue Dream, and call it Blue Sherbet, 2 weeks later if it didn't sell enough, just so they could sell it on the shelves. And it happens. I've seen it with my eyes. So,
and it's not a joke. Like, this really does happen. It's common practice.
Yeah. So just grow your own, or grow your own, or have somebody else, but just go with homegrown. That way you can at least guarantee to know if there's anything sprayed on it that you should know about. Also know how it was grown, and know that you're getting the same damn strain. You knew it worked last time. It's most likely going to work again.
Yeah. Well, Dave, I want to ask you kind of maybe how you kind of came to it as a medicine, or how you maybe like figured it out, and what the kind of the start of that little journey was for you.
Well, I mean, this day and age, we got the internet, so some of these seed companies, you can buy a seed and there may be a review or 10 on of that seed, and you got to take them reviews as a grain of salt. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, and there again, you got to go with what Russ said. You got to grow it yourself. Now, when I was looking for medicinal, I was looking for it for my mother. My mom was still working, so I knew I had to find her something that would not register on a drug test. So I found one that was 0.03%. And then I was looking for one that had an anti-inflammatory or a chronic pain property to it, which I found that in the Ringo's gift. Since then, I've added to that. I've found that the CBD white is a very good strain for inflammation, and the CBG, the one that I'm currently running now, is 99.99% CBG, and that is also good for inflammation. So I combined all three of those I infuse all three of them when I make my lotions, and my lotions they're working. That's all I can say is, my wife has a cousin who, we were at a family reunion, and she was just sitting in a lawn chair, just curled up in a ball, chronic arthritis. And I told my wife, Sandy, I said, go to the car and get your jug of lotion. She carries, just like Russ showed, she carries that same thing. Within 5 minutes, this young lady, who was in her 30s, was up walking around this place. Everybody around there was like, wow, they're like, you know what I mean?
Wait a minute. Right.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that lotion that is good for you. The jojoba oil is very good. The turmeric is very good. There's nothing in my lotion that is going to hurt you. I don't recommend it, but I've had a 70-plus-year-old lady use it for toothache pain. So I don't know what's the magical ingredient in the lotion. I just know it's working for people.
That's good. And it's good that people are willing to try it, and that you present it in that manner. Because what I've come across with a lot of the elderly generation, they're not interested in inhaling or smoking anything, whether that's smoke or whether that's vape. That's just not really on their radar.
Right.
And even further, a lot of them don't want to experience psychoactive effects. So
correct.
Topicals, the minor cannabinoids that you're mentioning is great. Although I do personally, I go to vape. The one vape card I get it's 40% CBD. That's how I get high concentrations of CBD. But aside from that, I do prefer my flower. But I have topicals. I used one that's kind of blowing my mind for the past couple of days. JR Token from the DGC. I met up with him, and he has a salve that he makes. Gave me a jar, and I love it when you don't have to wonder if it's working. Has there been any products or anything that you've seen out there, or maybe some formulations for you guys that, at least as a topical, that you're like, yeah, I don't have to wonder if that's working? And this one had it's just CBD isolate. There's no THC or anything in there. It's got some menthol crystals. It's got some other things. Gin dip Dow. I could pull it up, but yeah. Have you guys ever had that experience with the topicals?
Well, I mean, I use Dave's topical, but for ones that you can get over the counter, sort of a thing. I like the Tiger Balm, that it has the camphor in it. And the heat works a lot better for my issues than something cold would. So when I'm looking for like a lotion or some sort, like with Dave's lotion, I'll take that and mix it with Tiger Balm so that I'm getting kind of both effect with it.
Right. And actually, so what I was using mine for was I had pain, just like real tightness and pain in the back of my neck and my shoulders. And it relieved like the burning pain that I was getting there, but the muscles were still tight, but it eliminated that burning sensation. So I guess maybe a better question for you guys is like, what do you use your topicals for? Mine was, again, it's just inflammation, and I'll also usually use it for like muscle pain in my shoulders or my neck.
I first created it for, like I said, my mom, who she come to me and said she was getting woke up in the middle of the night with sore legs, which I self-diagnosed it as restless leg syndrome, because she's had issues with her pain in her knees, because my mom's really short. So during school, she'd have to sit on her knees on her desk to be able to see anything. And so when she'd get home, her knees would just throb. So she's had an issue with her knees most of her life. So that's why I created I started with a deodorant stick. That's something you could rub on. But when I did that, it didn't seem to soak into the skin like a lotion would. So that's when I went to the lotion, and it seemed to work better for her. And it's working for not just her, but, I use it myself on sore muscles or whatever, and it seems to work.
You mentioned, Emily, you mentioned terpenes earlier, and I'm just trying to look at my notes from an article I wrote here. But I know that there are some terpenes, and it looks like limonene is one of them, but it helps helps penetrate through the skin barrier. It's absorption promoter. That's what it is. That was the word I was looking for. But it helps absorption through the skin. So like limonene, and there was another one right now. I almost want to say linalool, but I'm not positive on that. But there are some.
That would make sense if it's linalool, because isn't that lavender?
Yeah.
That would make sense then, because a lot of lotions and calming things like that through the skin are lavender scented and essential oils. So that would make sense if that were it.
Yeah. And, so one of the things I wanted to bring up too is with a lot of these terpenes is we already know that they're not exclusive to cannabis. They're found all throughout nature. They're used in all kinds of home products, beauty products, things that we apply to our skins. So there's this thing called GRAS, generally recognized as safe, which is a standard that all these companies have to go through to use products like that. So there's a lot of data out there on things like limonene and linalool and myrcene, just to name a few. So we're able to actually look at the data for anti-inflammatory or analgesic, pain relieving effects. So those are roads people can dive down to if they want to find out more information about certain terpenes. The information's already out there because it's not exclusive to cannabis. So yeah, I just want to put that one out there because there are some. There's another one.
That's where I find the like a commercial cannabis shop is useful. Is usually you can go in there and get an edible, usually gummy, that is high in a certain terpene or a minor cannabinoid, maybe a CBG gummy or something like that the home grower is not likely going to be able to do easily at their house. And that's, I think there is some positives for isolates in those cases. Like say, for example, I want to, increase my CBG intake for the day. Maybe you can get a tincture or maybe you can get a gummy and be able to increase that without having to consume a crap ton of, other edibles or flour that has all these other cannabinoids you might not want.
Yeah,
it's a really good point because isolate and the products that you find it in really is the best way to get higher dosages of particular things. So, yeah, edibles, vape carts. What else? would there be maybe where you find isolate as a product or as part
Sometimes flower, especially in the case of CBD or THC. Well, I guess it's not. It's not an isolate.
I've got a CBG isolate from Winewood in Michigan.
Okay. So CBG, what is it mixed with? Is it 40%, 50%, or how do they
straight CBG?
Yeah, so this is straight CBG drops. The back of it here reads, CBG has been shown to have a variety of potential therapeutic effects, including reducing inflammation, pain, and nausea, and promoting appetite. And it's not psychoactive. This container is 3,000 milligrams of CBG. And then it's marked, the dropper is marked. And the ingredients are coconut MCT oil and hemp extract.
Nice. Very short list of ingredients. I like that.
Yeah.
But it's just got like a slight oily kind of consistency taste to it. It doesn't have any like alcohol burning or anything like that, which I really appreciate in a tincture. And you can like mix it into a drink or something if you want. You can take it straight out under the tongue. But it's really helpful to be able to kind of dose it that way, to have the numbers right there on it, I think, if you're looking for a specific number to reach.
Yeah, because that's super important. And it goes back to what Russ was saying about taking notes is, you can go a step further from just the strain you tried or the tincture you tried. You can write down how many puffs did you take? Or, if you want to be specific, you can measure it, put it in, and know how much you consumed. But usually just puffs works. But with the droppers, yeah, it's, there's not much scientific about, I took about half a dropper. So you can really dial things into for hopefully specific the effects.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it just is all about how consistent or how detailed you specifically want or even need to be. Because like it's with the way you were saying how you have to keep track of it, because I can sit here and say like, yeah, I know that one will be two joints, and I'll feel okay from that. And that one will take 3 or 4 joints and then I'll start feeling something. But having that actual number, if I could look at and see a number or a graph of, no, like this specific strain, you usually need just a couple of hits and then that's going to cut back that nausea for you a lot quicker. Like if I did keep better track of that, I feel like I would be in a better spot right now instead of just, all right, let's get a baseline going again so I don't feel anything.
Yeah, well, sometimes when you're in pain or experiencing nausea or any of the many things people use cannabis for, sometimes that's the only thought on your mind is getting to feel better for the moment. So yeah, we all think we could keep better notes, but
yeah,
sometimes life gets in the way. How about you, Rick? What is your preferred method for medicating? I know we both raised our hands for medically recreational. I've heard one person, I don't know, Russ, you've probably heard this. I want to say maybe you heard it, but it's like the first 2 tokes are medicinal. Anything else afterwards is recreational.
I would call them a damn liar. I think every toke is medicinal, so I don't know what the hell that means.
I like it. I can agree both ways there. So yeah, Rick, so what is your preferred way to kind of like medicate? And do you have different methods for different purposes?
Yeah, so I prefer to inhale. I haven't graduated to dabs. I've messed around with them, but it's not my thing yet. Where was I going? Oh, so but I do. I've really developed an appreciation for RSO, and I use that every single night, and that's medicinal for sleeping, and for inflammation. I have arthritis, so it really helps in that area to give me a better quality sleep. We were talking before. We were talking before about the how do you go about establishing what is going to work for you. But I'm finding that with the RSO, that I just like to mix as many as I can together, and that's where I'm getting my effect. So I'm not really doing any much scientific. I just want to get as many different cannabinoids in there as possible.
But there is science to that, Rick. It's the ensemble effect, or whatever you want to call it. But and, I found that in my test too with all my patients, that it's far more effective to make the oil with more, especially more diverse, plants that were different than from each other. Okay. Plants, if you get 5, 6, 7, 8, oh my God, different strains in one RSO, that RSO is going to kick ass.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, because a lot of people, kind of myself included, look at it as like on an individual strain basis. Like, I'm searching for that strain that does it for me with the RSO as an example. But you really do broaden your chances. You widen the net, really, when you're combining it. So that might be a great suggestion for some people that
I've seen it for sure. I mean, it's whatever you want to call it, but I mean, I've seen it I helped save my uncle's life, because they sent him home a month ago and said, sorry, there's nothing more we could do. And a year later, he was diagnosed cancer-free. So definitely powerful shit. But wow. And that's what it always thought in my head was like, I'm casting a net. I'm out there casting a net of cannabinoids, and I'm just trying to get the widest net that I can get, because I don't know. What I look at in my head is the cannabinoids are keys, and your receptors are the locks. I'm trying to find the right key for the right lock to unlock the healing that I need. And for me, why don't I just flood the system with all the fucking keys I can find? And I'm more, the chances are higher that I'm going to unlock more locks that way. So that's always been my strategy with making my oils, is just try to get as diverse, as many different cultivars in there as I can. So I'll use trim, I'll use buds, I'll use use rosin pucks. That's one of my favorite things to use. But all these things, and I think the wider you cast your net for these cannabinoids, the stronger oil you're going to make.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's a very good point. Or if not stronger, maybe more effective.
And we got a good question here in chat. Smart guy. Again, smart people know when to ask a question. Says, what's RSO? And it does come by kind of many different names. And I saw, Emily, you added a little bit to the chat. So maybe do you want to kind of just reiterate what you were saying in chat for everybody? Because it has many different names. That's kind of a tricky thing here too, because you can hear different conversations where they're using the different term, but sometimes it's the same thing. So do you want to maybe answer that one for everybody?
Yeah, so RSO stands for Rick Simpson Oil. Rick Simpson is the one who really, I guess, popularized showcasing how to use the cannabis oil to help treat cancer. And other people, if you don't want to use the RSO term for it, you can just call it FICO, which is full extract cannabis oil.
Awesome. Okay, because those are two, and that confused me for a while.
The second one, that full extract, kind of is also kind of insinuating and kind of setting itself away from just the Rick Simpson oil, in that it's got more than one plant. It's got different cultivars. It's trying to get, like what I was just explaining.
Yeah.
Okay.
That FICO is more on what I was explaining, where you're trying to get that full extract. You're trying to get as many of those cannabinoids as you can. Whereas Rick Simpson, I think he did say to use a couple cultivars, but I mean, it wasn't usually as expensive as 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever.
That's good advice. That, kind of thinking too, along the lines of great questions I've had in the past, is some people, what method would you recommend maybe for someone that needs like a longer term effect? Because smoking kind of, it's easy, it's fast acting, but it also wears off fairly quickly. So is there anything that you guys have found that leaves people still functionable in their day, but has maybe longer lasting effects?
Consistent use throughout the day. I feel like is the best way to get a high to where you can function, like a functional high, but high enough to mitigate the pain or whatever ailment you're trying to push back. Whereas like, I mean, this is from my perspective, but taking RSO, taking an edible, like the amount that I need to consume in order to have it help and last as long as it would and be the level that it would, I wouldn't be able to do anything else throughout the day, really. So having a low dose of that, you know, helping in the background and then consistently re-upping through smoking flower or dabbing is kind of how I would use that, rather than just taking one thing and hoping for it to last the level I need and the length that I need.
But she's on the high.
Yeah.
Emily, I love you, but you're on the high tolerance end, and most of the people out there are going to be more on the low tolerance end. And I think that the answer to your question is still, like Emily is saying, is edibles. And just take edibles as a micro dose. And you can, you know, what I found was the easiest was just to buy, you can buy empty capsules at most of your pharmacies. And then for people with really low tolerances, I would just infuse something like a coconut oil or an MCT oil and fill capsules. When I did that, I just did that in a crock pot, and I had them tested several times in the lab, and they've always came between 8 to 10 milligrams per capsule. So that makes it really easy to dose people. You can like take 2, take 3, you know, however many you can figure out. Once they're taking, 5, 6 of those suckers, then you can switch to cannabis oil and start putting low doses of cannabis oil or RSO into those same capsules and start doing that by weight. Like, okay, put a 1/10 of a gram, or you can go to 1,000th of a gram, depending how their tolerance is. But put a 1/10 of a gram in there and see how that is going to affect you tonight, and see how you wake up. And maybe a 1/10 of a gram during the day is going to be just exactly what you need for the background. Maybe it's too much, but you just have to try it and then adjust.
Right.
Usually
Start low, go slow.
Yeah, right. So I always went with MCT oil. If it's really low tolerance, when you start taking a lot of MCT oil, you can up it to cannabis oil. Now you start to take a low amount, but still high amount of THC.
I want to talk real quick about just like RSO or FICO safety, because that is, to my knowledge, the heaviest concentrated product as far as percentages that you're going to find. But working at the store, that is the one item where we would actually explain to people, warn them, don't take the whole syringe. That's, don't do that. And of course, there are always a few people that come back and be like, I took the whole thing. And I heard some great stories from that. Not all of them pleasant, but RSO, man, because it's so highly concentrated. It's not like a toke on the pipe, man. Does anybody want to hit maybe some of your personal RSO safety tips, or at least Uncle Rick, like how big is your dosage? Because don't slather it on a crack. I'll let you guys answer that one, because RSO, it's important, man, because that, of anything, again, is the one that has created the most bad times for people.
Yeah. I just want to add, while we're talking about this, it's always nice to have some CBD oil on hand to counteract. If you do get into trouble, you've taken too much. It's nice to have that counteract. So my method of consumption is, and then you've got to always think about your tolerance level. And also when if I'm using my RSO for sleeping, the time before you go to bed at which you take your RSO. And I know I'm known for jumping all over the place, but I gotta jump in on this one here. The fact that I took a sleeping pill for 20 years. 20 years I took a sleeping pill, and I started on RSO just over 2 years ago, and never took another sleeping pill since. So very happy about that. Yeah, very happy about that. Yeah. So keeping those things in mind, when are you going to? Keeping in mind, have you got something important you got to do the next day? So there is a lot of thought goes into that. So, but what I prefer to use is the capsules. And so I'll consider all of those things before I go squirt, and then I just I hope for the best and say goodnight. And yeah, that's how it works for me.
That's extremely scientific. Just a little squirt. That's good.
Well, a little squirt, big squirt.
That's like when I tell the person at Subway, just a little mayo, and then they go with it. It's like we have a different concept of a little.
But I have a technical question that I've been meaning to ask, and that is I mean, I know I experienced a dry mouth when I smoke cannabis, but boy oh boy, sometimes the RSO I really I got to make sure I always put a good thing of water beside my bed before I go to sleep. And
wow, okay.
Dude, with
But
the
I'm
RSO,
Always good advice. All edibles affect me usually.
So, but I'm curious, like what causes the dry mouth?
it's not just dry mouth though. When I was taking RSO pretty consistently and I was wearing contacts, my eyes would dry out and I would blink out my contacts. I would have to switch to glasses if I was taking RSO.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's wild.
That is.
I don't know the answer, Uncle Rick, though. That's a good question.
okay. I'll do my homework. I'll get back to you on that one. I know that it really, and it's usually around an hour or so after I take my dosage that I really get
You know it's creeping up on you.
Oh yeah.
That's
Well,
what's
it's
fun.
another benefit. It makes you drink your water for the day. That's good.
Yep. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could be like me sometimes and just sit there and keep commenting internally of how dry your mouth is and how nice something to drink would be, but you just keep doing what you're doing. Like right now. But I have my juice box. Yay! But yeah, that is a good question. Why do we get cotton mouth?
Yeah. So, if you don't mind, Chad, I'd like to hijack the show for just a little while here. Something happened in my life recently that I feel I have to share with the crowd. Oh God, do I have to go on?
This is his favorite. Please leave this up.
Anyway, this is a belt. This is a belt that I've owned this belt for about a year. So, but here's the thing. It's a little tricky. It's the way you release the belt is there's a little button right there.
Yep. Okay.
And you squeeze the button and then it opens. You squeeze it and it opens. Fuck.
Did you rehearse this, Rick?
Anyway, this is not the story.
What's the story?
Well, no. Wait. First of all, I got to figure out how to.
I just feel like I want to tilt.
Is it important to the story?
Well, sort of. Okay,
Okay.
I just figured it out. Okay, yeah, it is important. Okay, so yeah, you don't squeeze it, you just turn it. There you go. Okay. So anyway, oh God.
I'm glad I got to see that, Rick.
Chad,
Thank you.
Chad, please, can you take me out? Thank you. Okay, so anyway, I was in town the other day.
Are you wearing pants right now, Rick?
No.
Hey, don't throw me off. Come on, man. Hey, let me look. Anyway, I was in town the other day, and it's a very small town, and it was in the grocery store, and I had to go for a squirt. So it's busy in town, but there's only one washroom, and so we all got to take our turns. And I said, okay, that's fine. So I was standing there, waiting my turn. Okay, it's my turn. Into the washroom. I've owned this belt for like a fucking year.
I can believe that.
Do you
witness that?
Do you think I could figure out how to open it? I stood there and I pulled and I twisted and I turned. And then, of course, every now and then, what I would do is I'd accidentally pull it even tighter because it'll go. Oh yeah. It'll, until finally the point. Okay, well then fuck it. I'll just pull the pants down over my hips, and I'll have a squirt and be on my way. Anyway, now it's too fucking tight, but I know there's other people waiting to go in the washroom. So I thought, well, fuck, what am I gonna do? So I went out of the washroom. Somebody else went in, and then another woman. She was kind of getting in, ready to take her turn to go in, and I turned to her. I looked at her, and I said, "I got to go back in there." And she looked at me like, "You were just fucking in there, and now you got to go back in." And I realized at that moment that, oh God, so finally when they got
tell her, hey, I was stuck in my belt, I couldn't get out. Maybe you could give me a hand.
Yeah, that's not going to get the cops called.
Anyway, it was just one of those embarrassing moments.
So how did that finish? Did you get to go back in?
I said, hey, I was so embarrassed at that point. I said, hey, go ahead. Because she looked at me like, are you nuts? You were just in. Like, what do you mean?
Are your legs falling asleep at this point because your belt is so tight?
I didn't want to explain it to anybody. I just wanted to anyway. So I said, "Ma'am, go ahead. You go ahead." And finally, I figured it out. But it was an embarrassing moment. So thank you for allowing me to share that. I got that off my mind.
That actually is probably going to make an awesome segue to our next giveaway. Because I just cannot pass up the opportunity to use this word as the giveaway. So, all right, I'll put it up here real quick. We'll get back to RSO in a second. But if you are in the USA or Canada and you'd like to win some beans, go ahead and type squirt in chat.
Yeah, we just need a little squirt in chat.
Just squirt. And let's see here. Let me put this up. So what we're going to do give away again is you guys have seen this. We've been giving this away for a few weeks now. Universal Elements Genetics has been gracious enough to donate a whole bunch of packs to us. So getting close to the end on the Universal Elements Genetics. But what this is it is his prize blueberry times my Hans Gruber mail. He was going through them. He found a really good mail out of it. It's like, I want to work with that. So he put it to the blueberry. Really great potential on this one. These are regular seeds. Again, coming from Universal Elements Genetics. That is what is going on. If you're in the USA, Uncle Rick will have a Canadian prize pack, but we'll go ahead and we'll take some time to let you guys type squirt into the chat because that is a fun word.
Chad, you got to claim the sexiest man in cannabis too, because I've never seen so many squirts in chat, bro.
That was not expected. Squirt, squirt. Oh my gosh. Clean your screens. Good. I don't know what to say. LittleEbud, save us. Say something.
I want to know if Rick finished taking his squirt.
Oh yeah, no, it all worked out. It all worked out.
It came out in the end. That's good.
Somebody helped you. Somebody helped you with your belt, or did you get security? What'd you do?
The story just it gets uglier from that point on, honestly.
Oh no, you got to finish it now.
No.
I mean, where we last left you, you're standing there at a urinal. From behind, it looks like you're just, I don't know what you're doing.
Rick, if you don't finish the story, we're going to finish it for you. So which one do you want?
All right, there we go. Gauntlet.
Honestly, I thought I had
No, you still were under distress, man. You hadn't emptied your bladder yet.
So obviously, at some point before I left the store, at some point I figured out how to open this thing here. But
just
I don't remember.
So you're standing in line messing with your belt?
Well, no, that's what I was so embarrassed. I didn't even want to touch my belt. I didn't want to explain to her, what I was. It was a very sad moment, a very, very sad moment.
But you got through it, and you're okay.
Yeah. And then I'm assuming that after she came out, I went back in and
wait a minute. What do you mean you're assuming? What does that mean?
Well,
This is getting weird. You're trying to cover up something, aren't you, Rick?
no.
Okay. You didn't pee your pants, did you?
I did not squirt my pants. But
Good. All right. Cool.
here's what happened. I got back into the washroom and I figured out how to open my belt before I put it in my pants. Okay.
Hot says you need suspenders, man. That's a good idea.
That's a great comment.
Don't go out of the house wearing that belt.
All right, so you're in line. Now you're just hanging there with the pants all loose. You could be like, this is how the kids wear it these days.
Yeah, did you dare putting the belt back on afterwards?
Yes, I knew that if I found the strength in my memory, I know I could open that belt again. And and even today, I was trying to explain to you how to open the fucking thing, and do you think I could? Nah,
Yeah.
You need to start carrying a pocket knife while you cut your way out.
For
That
emergency,
belt would be out of my life.
yeah,
Right?
for emergency use only.
You need those little crackers that you keep in your car so you can crack the window and cut the seatbelt when you get out.
Yeah.
You just need to pack that on like a hip tool belt. You can get out of it at any time.
I'm gonna get one of those, man. Oh my goodness.
All right, we've had 139 squirts in chat so far.
That is a lot of squirt action, man.
If this was OnlyFans, we'd be rich. But no, let's give this away. Let's see if you guys, US and Canada on this one. Good luck. If you guys are the winner, just go ahead and DM me on IG. My link is down in the show notes, as well as every guest today. Their link to IG is down there. And congratulations, Justin. I will write this down here.
So big.
Reach out to me and let me know in chat if you are US or Canada, and we'll get you the right package. But if you're in US, again, you get that universal elements genetics. And we're gonna have another giveaway here before the end of the show, because I always like to do at least 3. But I kind of mentioned it earlier before we dive back into some of the cannabis talk and the medicinal talk. Well, this is cannabis talk too. Earlier, I kind of teased something special. I was going to need a graphic. So which one of you wants to break it? Uncle Rick, you actually put me on the spot Wednesday on your show to describe it. So why don't I maybe put you on the spot and say, Uncle Rick, what is that special thing that's going on while I scroll down your YouTube page so everybody knows what it looks like?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm very, very proud and excited to announce that we finalized the date for the 60 and 60 giveaway. The date is Saturday, September the 17th. And to those of you that aren't aware, what's happening on that day is we're going to be giving away 60 seed packs from 60 different breeders, all in 60 minutes. Chad. Yeah, and by the way, good to see you, Lori. Galaxy Solutions in chat. Ever since we announced this, and I think we announced it about 5 or 6 months ago, Galaxy has been our biggest skeptic, and just oh yeah, sure, you're gonna pull this off. I don't think so. And my goodness, there was I don't even want to admit that maybe there was a point where I wasn't sure, but I'll tell you, we're back on track and we're going to pull this off. And I can't tell you how excited I am. There's a lot of moving parts, but yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
That is going to be spectacular. That is going to be fun. That's 60 packs of seeds in 60 minutes. 1 pack of seeds per minute. That's kind of insane. Yeah, that is nuts. Let's see here. Let me bring this up.
Well, that's nuts on its own.
Here we
then
are.
Consider that each one is a separate breeder. We're not doubling up on anybody. That's what's really cool.
Yeah, 60 breeders.
so we can spread. We want to spread the love as far as possible with this project for sure. For sure.
Yep. So okay, now I see the LPP fundraiser coming soon too, which is another awesome thing that's going down on the Let's Be Budz channel. But how do they find more information on this? Where are you at right now, LittleEbud?
This is actually Rick's website.
Oh, get out of here!
Yeah, let me. I don't know if I can post in the chat or not.
And shout out to Ty. He looks after our website, and boy, oh boy, he stays on top of this shit. But I'm going to give him at our next staff meeting. I'm going to have to, because we've got two more. I noticed he said there's 47 in there. I think we're sitting at 49 right now. LittleEbud.
We are at 49. Yep, 49.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this will be easy because I still have to reach out. I wanted to get that graphic from you, and then I reach out to some people. Yeah, the list of breeders, the seed packs that are going to be going up is pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah,
We're
and
just going to bring that up. A lot of the people that we bring on the show that we're interested in talking to, and a lot of the fans are interested in hearing from, they're breeders. You know, at the end of the show, we're like, yo. You know, before we let you go, you want to get in on this 60 for 60. So a lot of these breeders are really good breeders.
Yeah. And
did this thought ever cross your mind? Put the Guinness Book of World Records?
Well,
that was in fact the genesis of the idea.
Yeah. Quite frankly, yes. And LittleEbud looked into the whole concept and tell them what they told you, LittleEbud.
It was $6,000 for very little of their help, all the way up to $16,000 for a lot of their help. You know what I mean?
Wow. So you got to pay a lot of money. You can't just break a record. You got to pay a lot of money.
So we're just going to film it. And we're just gonna fucking do it, and then nobody else can claim it until they pay $16,000 and beat us.
Yes,
here.
Yes.
Yeah. So between now and September, or I'm sorry, did I say it was August? It's August the 17th. Yeah. Between now and then, in the second hour of our show, which is Wednesday at 9 p.m. We're going to be inviting the breeders back onto the show to tell a little bit about the seed pack. But you know, I look at this a more philosophical, if you don't mind if I digress for just a moment. And you know, it won't last long because my mind wanders. But there goes my idea. It just came back. So here's the thing. In my career, in growing cannabis, it never really was the seeds. It was just clones. That's where I got my. I didn't really do much with seeds. It's only been the last couple of years that I probably up until then I hadn't popped 100 seeds in my life, and it wasn't until I met all of you that I developed more interest in popping seeds, but I've never taken the step to consider breeding. And even though I've done a lot of weird things that I thought I'd never do in the last couple of years, that is one I'm not sure I'm going down that rabbit hole. But having said that, I got so much respect for the people that put the time into breeding, into creating life, into continuing what has been built up, and I've just got so much respect for that. So that maybe that was a little bit of the genesis behind this whole idea as well. But so we want to take the opportunity to invite breeders onto the show between now and then. And one specific question I'm going to have for them is, okay, what was your inspiration? Like Chad, when you decided to cross two strains to create the Westport posse, what was your inspiration? And so then just like to get and it's just going to build more excitement to the final day. So yeah, looking forward to it.
And that'll be fun too, because they'll get to talk about the strains that people are going to be able to win. Because again, I'm going to have 60 seconds to show it, name it, tell you something, name and winner, get to the next one. It's going to be pretty rapid fire. So if they could tune into your show and catch some of the extended versions, they'll be able to learn a lot more about the breeders they like, or will learn to like. And I want to say we're going to do that giveaway again. Because Justin was in the UK, but everybody thank Justin in the chat if you are in the US or Canada, because that was nice of him to let us know. And so we're going to pass it on. So yeah,
thank good Justin. On you, Justin.
Yeah, appreciate that. Sorry, hopefully one day there will be better means of transportation to the location over there. But this Universal Elements Genetics, it is the blueberry times the Hans Gruber male, and that's the regular. So that's what's going up. So just go ahead and type thank Justin in there again, US and Canada for this draw. So that's exciting news, man. We got a month to get this planned, to get it nailed down. Now, how are we picking the winners? Is it going to be duck races? Is it going to be the StreamYard giveaway tool like I'm using?
It's going to be the StreamYard giveaway tool. Yep. All you got to do is type in one word or whatever you want. Just as long as you're in chat, you're going to be in for the drawing.
And so it's not even based off of the word that you type.
Yeah, there's not going to be no words.
Ooh. Okay.
Is it the honor system, or are people going to be allowed to win multiple times? And that's
nope. You win once and you're out.
Okay.
It'll automatically pull you out. So there's going to be
60
individual winners. Yep.
Yep. That's cool. I like that though, because sometimes the randomizers seemingly don't seem random. I've been on the good end of that before, so no complaints. But yeah, that'll be nice to have.
60 winners, man. That's fucking awesome.
60 different breeders, 60 different winners.
Yeah, I saw staggering productions in chat earlier, and on the chatathon last year, he won 3 in a row. three
yeah.
in a row. Yeah, we had a little flack over that, but that's okay.
But it is random. Yep.
Oh, it sure is.
It's still super cool because if you come in and say there's 200 people in there, you still know that 60 different people are going to win. So there's really good chances you're going to walk away with some seeds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now that's another.
We are going to have the GoFundMe page up. So like I said, if you want to donate $5 is worth a pack of seeds to anybody, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean?
And that GoFundMe is for.
That is for all proceeds go to the Last Prisoners Project.
Last Prisoners Project. That's our that's kind of our heart and soul with Let's Be Budz. We've been helping the Last Prisoner Project raise funds so that they use those funds to put money in commissary to help people. I think it was $1,000 when they get out of jail, so they can
$5,000.
$5,000. Okay, so cool. So they have rent for a little while. Yep. And they really help these people out that are incarcerated for nonviolent cannabis crimes. So,
I just linked the GoFundMe in chat for anybody interested in partaking.
Sweet.
Where did that go? I'll find it here and try to put that up on the screen. Do you want to maybe send it in private chat? I'm scrolling up. I'm not seeing it yet. But
there you go.
Oh, private chat. There we go. Okay. Thank you.
One really cool thing they do also on their website is they have a portal to where you can write letters to incarcerated people, and they have bios so you can learn about them. And for some people that are incarcerated for a lot of time, a lot of their family members have kind of lost contact with them and forgotten about them, we'll say. They don't get much contact, so it's not even a money donation. It's just a little bit of your time to let them know that they're not forgotten about, and hopefully laws will change and they'll get out and all that good stuff. But there's other ways you can help too. It's not always a monetary thing, and it could be huge. It could be worth way more than money to somebody.
Yep.
Definitely.
And then not to mention Dutchies is involved. So your $5 donation just now became $10 donation. So
That's awesome. And how much of the proceeds, how much of the GoFundMe go directly to the Last Prisoner Project?
100%. Whatever fee is taken out from the GoFundMe transfer, unfortunately, is lost to that, using it, the GoFundMe. But everything that is transferred out is donated to the Dutchies link currently, because they're still doubling every donation. So we've got 500, and I think we're at 525. Oh no, we're at 545 right now. So this next month coming up, they'll deposit, and then I take that and donate it through the Dutchies link.
And so to answer that question, I believe it's 3.5%. I think GoFundMe takes 3.5% for their service fee.
Yeah, but when you consider Dutchies doubling your donation, more than what you're donating is going to the cause directly.
that's right.
That's awesome. That's another great way to look at it. It's like, I got 5 on it, but there goes 10 in the bowl. So
That's right.
That's huge, because there's still a lot of red states out there that you can go to jail for a joint or, a bag of weed, depending upon the mood of the person on that day. And that's just insane. The nonviolent offenders behind bars for cannabis. So this group supports them, helps with their legal fees, helps when they get out, and really is there as a resource that people can use. So it's awesome that you guys support it. And this is going to be, is this the 3rd year for the Last Prisoner Project?
Third year coming up.
Third year coming up. Yeah.
3rd year coming up. And I'm sorry if I missed the date. Do you guys have a date yet? Is it September usually?
We've set the date at it's November the 16th. Or is it the 17th?
You are correct. No, 16th.
16th. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Which again, I believe is a Saturday, and we from noon to midnight, and
I was just going to say, an all-day affair. It's been fun the last 2 years. I've come and hung out for an hour and given away some seeds. Hopefully we'll do that again, but that's, nothing like the 60 and 60 that you got planned for August 17th. That's going to be a shenanigan. So I hope everybody tunes in. We got 134 people in here right now that want to win some beans. So hopefully that's 134 people at least tuning in on the 17th to win one of those 60 packs in 60 minutes. That's a good time payoff. But let's go ahead and give these away. And again, thank Justin for letting us know while the show's still going so we can redistribute the beans. So USA, Canada, good luck. Let us know.
Too slow.
Get Reaper
Locks.
All right.
Chief. Congratulations.
Yep. Congratulations. Oh, I'm writing down reefer. Where's my mind at? Reaper. All right. I should probably take another. Yeah. Take another token. All right. So, and then again, guys, we got another giveaway coming up here towards the end of the show. But we were talking about just kind of safety with RSO. Start low, go slow. But RSO or FICO is the most concentrated product out there, so a little goes a long way.
Like you were saying earlier, it depends on your tolerance. Now, if you're coming with somebody, say somebody you found out's got cancer and you want to treat them with the RSO or FICO or whatever you call it. I call it RSO. I always tell them start with a grain of rice or even a half a grain of rice on your finger. Work your way up to a mini chocolate chip, and then go to a full-size chocolate chip. That's somebody that's never touched the stuff ever. You know what I mean?
It's a good suggestion, and it gives a frame of reference for people too. Yeah. Because again, me and Subway got a different idea of a little bit. So a grain of rice is a perfect example to illustrate the potency of, or the potential that it has. And yeah, after time.
Be specific, uncooked grain of rice. Be very specific, because I've had people say, what kind of grain? What kind? There's lots of kinds of rice. Is it cooked rice? Is it not
Long
cooked?
grain rice?
Like, you're killing me here. You're killing me.
Right.
Yeah.
That is very specific. Yeah, that's funny. Long grain of rice, man? No.
Because even Rick has
Poor
his
grain.
overdose moments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's an experienced.
I had my ex-wives convinced that this was 6 inches.
Not touching that. Not touching that.
Neither
That's
was
the same
she.
thing they said.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Hey, Donald
Rick.
Roberts has got it right. My grain of rice is huge.
Yep.
I think it's always been, I mean, yeah,
just
start
eat
out with
it
a grain
in.
of rice. I say the same thing. But once you get a little bit bigger than a grain of rice, as soon as you can, even if you can go to the smoke shop and get the nice scales that go down to a 1,000th of a gram, and start weighing it, because eyeballing stuff really eventually, especially in the larger dose sizes, can really get you into trouble. What you think is something can be way off. So just start weighing it. It gives you a number you can see. And then, like if you take a 0.04 and it was too much, you can take a 0.03 next time. You know what I mean? Or you can go the other way with it, depending on how you want to work with it. Sometimes too, it's like you can take a really small dose and say you take it before bed, and then you wake up in the morning, you still feel groggy or some kind of effect from the cannabis oil. Instead of reducing the dose, you could also take it sooner. So if you took it at 7 o'clock at night, take it at 6 o'clock at night. Give it that extra hour to work through your system. Keep that same strength up there if you had a good night's sleep, because it obviously worked. But just back it up a little bit so that so you don't have that grogginess when you wake up. Or drink a Monster. That's my trick. Grogginess goes right away.
That's good advice though, because I definitely have experienced like the weed hangover after like high dosages of edibles, where I wake up and I'm just still kind of like, yeah, I'm foggy still. Like, I'm not gonna go operate a bandsaw or anything when I first wake up after that. So moving a dosage back, that's great, because a lot of people do use it for sleep, as Uncle Rick said, or, just to get to sleep or maintain sleep. A lot of people, I know I've had this at times. It's like I'd get 2-3 hours of sleep and then muscles would start hurting. And it doesn't matter which direction you lay or what you do, you get about 2 or 3 hours. So if you find something that helps you through that hurdle, cool. But yeah, a lot of people don't want that morning buzz. I do. I don't mind, because I'm smoking again soon anyways, but yeah, just general recommendations.
I saw somebody in chat. I can't remember. Your chat is very busy, chat. Congratulations. That's awesome. It goes by so fast. I can't figure out who it was that said it. They said, how do you make ours? So, and I can just give a super fast, quick run. Just basically the same thing in the herbal world is making a tincture, an alcohol tincture. And that's take your plant material and you soak it in alcohol. And then you strain off the plant material, and then you boil off the alcohol. And you're left with the plant oil.
Okay, alcohol 151. Does it have to be a particular?
Yeah, it'll work. It'll work. It's going to be more of a pain in the butt because it's got more water in it when you go to boil off. But so you might have less of a return, but it's still medicine. You're still getting medicine. So 151 will work. I like to use food grade. Something like Everclear is one of my favorites, and 190 proof is what I like to get.
190. Oh, so like grain alcohol. I think that's what I meant to say. Grain
alcohol. Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I like that is because food grade, you can get ethanol, 200 proof, all this is a lab grade stuff. The reason I like to get food grade is that I know that it's okay that if, for example, if I didn't get 100% purge of the alcohols, I want to make sure that it's an edible alcohol and not something that can be harmful, because usually my RSO is either going to myself or to people who are immune compromised. So I want to be extra careful that it's edible. It's not anything that's going to hurt them in any way. People I see a lot of times say ISO, but they add poisons to ISO so people don't drink it. So where do you think those poisons go? I just don't. I don't recommend ISO at all. I know it's cheap. I know it's real cheap, and it's unfortunate that we can't just get cheap alcohol without them adding adding poisons to it. But if they don't do that, then people drink it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good point there. And I wanted to touch too, boiling it off. Is there any risk of combustion? Is there any risk of fire or anything with that? Is it something you can do inside? Should you do it outside? Do you need any kind of special equipment?
So the lowest
to do it?
basic thing would be to do it outside with the heat source underneath, like something that's not directly fire, like an electric skillet or a rice cooker, or a rice cooker seems to be the most popular that I've seen.
Not like my camping Coleman stove with a couple burners. And
it would work, but it's a little dangerous. You get open flames and
okay,
alcohol with
open
gas.
Flames.
This is America. You do what you want, but I'm not doing that.
we have YouTube, so there's plenty of proof of it. Yes, and there probably is a video out there of people using open flames and trying to boil stuff off. And yeah, I bring that up because bad idea, guys. Don't do it. There is a real risk of, again, vapor, open flame, explosion, fire. So nothing to play around with, because you don't see the vapors. You don't know what the concentration is. So outside,
I've definitely done stupid things. I'm not perfect. I've definitely done it on my stovetop with the hood going, sucking the fumes up, but who knows, and on a gas stove, which was dumb. It was just stupid dumb. I've since upgraded equipment.
Yep. Well, that is part of the process, though. We're talking earlier about how we don't understand all of the cannabinoids, and we don't understand all the terpenes, and we don't understand this. We're still learning. Well, that's how things used to be done. I mean, we used to open blast butane through tubes. We now know there's a better way to do it. So as this experiment gets further and further along, there will always be improvements. And that's kind of an exciting thing, I think, is the potential that's still out there, and medicinal potential too. I wanted to say, like, Spain, Israel, those are two countries to look for as far as like human clinical trials, looking for actual effects with
Watch
cannabis.
out Germany. I bet Germany's going to have a lot here coming up.
They've gone legal, and there's actually a lot of people from Germany that watch the show and watch the channel. You know how you can always see the little breakdown of which country people are from. Germany keeps going higher and higher, so that's cool. I wish I need to get an AI.
The Germans are not playing around, dude. We went over to, what was the conference? Whatever conference it was. I think it was Grow Up in Berlin, and
you went there.
Yep. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right after they legalized, and we had, like, in the trade show, we had like shop owner after shop owner come and tell us they wanted to buy our tents that we're using just as a display, because they can't keep a grow tent in stock. It's like they're just flying off the shelves there, like everybody. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going on in Berlin. We get probably messages every day that I'm responding to and stuff with people from Germany. So there definitely are going to be some huge growers coming out of Germany. Shout out to my German friends.
Yes. So me and my wife, we go to the Netherlands every year, and we were kind of thinking of switching it up this next year. And we're not afraid to admit it. We're cannabis tourists, man. We don't really want to go there if we're not going to get some cannabis. Germany came up in the conversation. I'm like, well, it's right next door to the Netherlands. So if we want to catch a train, hit Amsterdam for a day or two, we could. But yeah.
I wish I had more time to see the city. I was stuck in the hotels, but there's definitely some beautiful stuff to see. Lots of graffiti. They don't play around with graffiti. They have a lot of graffiti on the streets of Berlin.
I would love to see that, man. I'm a fan, and that is one thing I enjoy about traveling, is just seeing the different graffiti and how it's tolerated and accepted, and how that seems to bring out more artistry, which makes things look nice. So I do enjoy that aspect.
Yeah, shout out to that video you did on the graffiti in the Netherlands. That was beautiful. Thank you, man. That's, oh gosh, every year I collect more photos, and that was just this year. So thank you. Those things take forever to put together. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. By the way, I just got into your video on Tom Alexander. So at this point, I've only started listening to it, but tell me, who is Tom Alexander?
Yep. So Tom Alexander, he was one of the people that was busted in the 80s under Operation Green Merchant. And that's where they went around and basically targeted a lot of the grow stores because they weren't getting the growers at the time. But they're like, we're going to get the grow stores. We're going to put them out of business. Essentially what happened is, and he had already been involved with cannabis. He had already been arrested for growing prior to, but his grow store, they basically came in, they seized all of the assets and never pressed charges. So that was a way to put people out of business and bankrupt them without actually having to press charges, because anybody can grow anything with the equipment there. They just happen to pose as Vietnam vets and get one of the salesmen to say, yeah, you could grow cannabis with that too. So that was BS. But he's done many things. Sensimilia Tips was one of the first like grow tutorial conversation piece type of magazines. He started that, distributed it up and down the West Coast, mainly in just grow shops. I believe after that got busted, I think it was like Maximum Yield, things that you find in the grow shops now that kind of got transitioned to. But yeah, Tom Alexander, he's a character. He's got a good story, and it's important because Operation Green Merchant, if you're not aware of it, that is a big part of cannabis history. We all tend to hear about Campaign Against Marijuana Planting, I think it was, where the helicopters fly over the hills of the Emerald Triangle. But that was just one of many campaigns against the plant. So Tom Alexander, that episode highlights that story.
Cool.
Yeah. So thanks for asking about that one.
What we were talking about RSO fecal oil earlier, and I just wanted to mention that if you go to if you go and Google RSO, Rick Simpson oil, I think that he used to. Yeah, no, I know he used to use isopropyl alcohol. And that, of course, we don't advise anymore.
And the naphtha is something that a lot of people try to steer away from in his recipe, and maybe that again is a delineation between RSO and FICO, but those two words are interchanged.
Rick Simpson now has switched to alcohol, and he uses, I think, grain alcohol. So
he's learned over time too. Then.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, as we all know, you can't delete YouTube videos, so that shit's out there
exactly.
forever, you know?
Yeah. That's why we just try to correct it when we can get the information out there, get the right information. But I'm not.
Yeah.
So I just call it cannabis oil because I'm not going to argue with anybody, and you can't say it's not cannabis oil. It's just like what do you call lavender oil that you distill down to its? I just said it. What do you call the oil from the lavender plant? You call it lavender oil. So I just call it cannabis oil. And I'm not going to argue with people. I just want to heal people with it.
You just have to
put a name behind it. This is Russ's oil. This is Fazoli's oil. This is,
another thing I wanted to mention was, hey, Mackie, good to see you, buddy. Are you, did you mention, Spartan, you're going to be on his show?
It just was on his show. So, yeah.
High on Homegrown.
Yep,
Nice.
High on Homegrown.
Oh, okay, were you live?
It was Thursday.
Oh, man. Story of my life. Anyway, where was I? Okay. So anyway, yeah. Again, me personally, a big thing with me is using cannabis as a sleep aid, and so that bud jar that got a little way at the back there, and turned on you or went brown or what have you. We've all got little jars like this kicking around, and anyway, like this stuff here, where it was THC, it's turning into more like CBN, and which of course assists you with sleeping. So none of this goes to waste with me.
Now, how about this? Have you looked at this, Rick? Because I hear all the time, the more amber the heads are, the more sedative it is. And that does have part to do with the degradation of THC to CBN, like you're talking about. But have you personally looked for or noticed that more amber heads works better for you sleeping? Or is the ratio something you've really focused in when using it in that kind of treatment or that aspect?
Well, that's an interesting question. I honestly, I haven't, but I'm gonna try to keep a mental note of that in the future.
I would say unless you're making a single cultivar RSO cannabis oil,
Okay.
it's going to be extremely sedative. If you have a multiple cultivar, wide range of cannabinoids. Now, if you're taking a cultivar that's extremely racy and you're using just that product, it's going to amplify that, because you're not using anything to mix it with or to dilute it with. So I think because of the way that both Rick and I make our cannabis oil, it's always kind of going to be sedative just because we're using so many cultivars, different cultivars.
And I'm glad you brought that up too, because my mind, being a flower guy, is I always kind of just assume flower. So I was more so meaning the flower in that sense of what he smokes or combusts, but flower goes into those products too. So it is still applicable with the cannabis oil. I'm going to start using that. But I think, at least for me, for anybody who's just tuning in to kind of like the back half of the show or just jumping in, got 240 of you right now. One of the biggest takeaways for me today is try mixing some of the strains together, particularly in the cannabis oil, like you guys were talking about, because it does cast a wider net. I've always been, and a lot of people are, focused on finding that single thing, the one that does it for them. So again, thank you for bringing that one up, Russ, because that's going to be a big takeaway for me and hopefully some other people when they're searching for what works, because a lot of people are still searching.
Well, I call it the shotgun approach. It's like if it's something serious, like you're talking about, we're dealing with cancer, we're dealing with major debilitating pain. That's the first tool that I'm grabbing in my toolbox, right? It's that syringe of cannabis oil, because I know it's like I'm given a wide range of my keys. I'm loading up that shotgun and I'm going to blast every one of these different keys at it to try to hit that lock, man. that's my go-to. But it's not always the go-to. There's so many different things. Flowers sometimes is the answer. Sometimes it's edible. There's so many different ways it can be good. Like topicals.
And I want to kind of, and I'm going to play into just like the common perception here too, but maybe we could go around the horn, and maybe you have an example, maybe you don't, but trying to think back just to like terpenes, because terpenes are a little bit easier for us to interpret versus like a cannabinoid ratio, a THC amount in the flower that we get without analytical testing. So if you guys find any specific effects or like preference with them, like for me, limonene, which can be a variety of different scents, but also lemon, that tends to me to be like more of a daytime for me. That tends to kind of like steer a little bit more of a clear-headed, but like a racier effect. So it's not something I take a whole bunch of, and it's not something I use at night. So daytimes, if I find something with that, I tend to go there. But at nighttime, again, playing into just the common knowledge of myrcene. Myrcene for me really does kind of, and linalool too, but that kind of just takes an edge off it. It's a little bit more relaxing for me. It helps with some of this, the body aches. And I have no science there is actually science to back that up, but not necessarily with cannabis. So do any of you find a connection between effects or any particular profile or terpenes? And again, answer could be no, but Emily, you had a suggestion?
Yeah, going off of that, the racy kind of citrus type, like a really bright flavor. I'm not sure the exact names again, so I'm just going to describe what I look for, what I go for. But it's helps me incredibly quickly with nausea. And it's all of those really bright ones, or like a a gasoline that hits you in the top of your nose rather than the base of your nose, if that makes sense.
That is something worth explaining. I kind of got introduced to the theory from a friend in the Netherlands. There's a interpeting. I see Prime kind of mentions it here. But he taught me it is of how you take in different scents and how you are able to compare them. It's like, where in the nose does it actually hit you? That's an excellent tool people can use as well if they're not, describing it. Like, it kind of hits me here. So sorry to interrupt you, but that was brilliant. That's a great tool for people to use.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I noticed those ones that, there are definitely some strains that I'll smoke where it'll hit me up here like a pinene, but I'm allergic to pinene, so that'll actually draw a sinus headache. Like, I know when I smoke something with it, not pleasant, not a good high feeling. So I have to watch out for that. But specifically, like Spartan's Orange Dream Haze, that one is so helpful for me when it comes to nausea, as well as the Bliss Bud that he created. Those two are both, like I said, they hit me right high in the nose. They're very bright. One is more of a gasoline. The other is a very orange flavor to it. The smell, I mean, I can open a jar and smell it. And that what comes out is enough to be like, all right, cool. That is medicine. It's doing something. So.
Yeah. Dave, did you have one?
Terpene wise, no. I basically chase the sativa and indica side. I go for the indica at night, and I smoke the sativas. Try to smoke the sativas through the day. That's.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite profile that you like in general, or at any time of the day? Or some people don't have the sense. My sense of smell is horrible, which helps me growing because if I can smell it, then it's really strong.
I never used to until recent, because getting with this community and learning what everybody does, and who the fuck knew that I should have a dry tent? You know what I mean? I never thought in a million years that I would need a dry tent. But I'll tell you, ever since I hooked one up and is drying the weed properly, now you're getting them blueberry profiles and that grape. I just grew a strawberry banana grape, and I'll tell you what, I don't get none of the strawberry, but I can get the grape just in a jar and that dry hit. And then it's just weird what the drying process really does for your taste profiles.
Yeah, it's definitely an important aspect of the grow. It's like there's two parts. There's the growing, and then there's the drying curing. You can mess up either. One takes less time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I too. I don't have a good. I got a big nose, okay, but it doesn't. I don't have a good nose for that. Every now and then, I remember, and I do prefer the uppity sativa-ish kind of high. And you mentioned earlier, Chad, you said that was the limonene that does it for you. To gives you that up. And I was curious what if you could direct to certain name strains that help you with that.
Jack's Cleaner 2 is my kind of go-to for that one. That's my preference. Super Silver or Super Lemon Haze would be another one. Some OGs kind of mix it with the gas if you want more of a mixed note profile. Lemon Drops, Lemon Tree. Lemon is a good giveaway, but that's just kind of one note that it can hit within that terpene profile too. So probably some of the orange that you were getting as well, Emily, probably fell into that. But yeah, Jack's Cleaner 2 is the one that's in my drawer. That is my I based all lemon strains off of that. Does it live up to it? How close does it get?
Right on. Yeah. In spite of my bad sense of smell, I recall the time I grew the orange gasm, and I could smell the orange. Absolutely. Yeah.
I really like the Vortex from TGA Genetics, and that's kind of along the same lines as the Jack's Cleaner. I think it's similar genetics, and that's to me, it's a soaring high on that one, and I guess sativa, but I also like some indica at night, like what LittleEbud was saying. I love Mac 1 in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it relaxes me, and I love that one so much.
Yeah.
And the Vortex, that's on the lemon side of things, lemon citrus side of things. That Bliss Bud that Emily brought up is one of my favorites to smoke. That's my happy weed. That's the weed. A long time ago, I don't know if they're still watching, but somebody in chat said, I wish I could find a weed to make me not sad or something. And man, that Bliss Bud does that for me. And that one's a real sour D heavy cross, so it's going to be gassy, and but it's got pineapple tie in it as well.
Wow.
Really, it's I've got a few more seeds to hunt, but I'm really happy with what I have so far with it. And then so I mean, I guess I'm all over the place, man. I like the variety, but for me, and most people in the industry are really focused in on terpenes, and to me, they're not really first for me in my grow or in what I'm doing. Secondary to me. First, the most important to me is the high. I'm searching for the high. I'm hunting for the high because there's so much stuff out there that doesn't really get me high. So it can taste great, but if it doesn't get me high, I'm not. Why? So,
diet weed. Nobody wants diet weed.
No, I mean, I'm sure it's great for other people. It's just like I have certain tolerance.
So can you interpret that as long as it as long as it gets me high? You mean like the higher the THC content, the better? Or
no, I mean, I smoke it, and how do I feel? What's the effect I get from it?
Exactly, the effect.
Yeah. I'm looking for the effect, whatever the effect's for. So if I get a positive effect, I have like 5 keeper strains, and I'm always growing new things. And if the new things are better than one of the keepers, I kick out one of the keepers. But it's going to have to be good because, you know what I mean? It started out with where there were just, decent effects, and then it got to be decent effects with good flavor. Now you got to be decent effects and good flavor. It's starting to get pretty hard. I'm not kicking out.
And then you got to be fun to grow.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Mac 1 is really stressing me out a little bit on that. It was like, man, if you weren't so goddamn good, I would be cutting your ass so much.
Yep. That's true, man. One that came to mind too for the lemon again, Jack Harrer. I had at the DGC Cup, got there, walked in, Duke Diamond was standing there. He's like, try my Jack. Dude, that set me off for just a great day.
I want to try that. That sounds good.
Yeah, it tasted awesome. It was fun. And I do kind of use that as a natural segue. We're going to do one more giveaway here. And this one is actually the Duke Diamond Dominion Seed Co. giveaway pack. There is no seeds from him in this one, but what you get is you get the cool jeweler's loop here with the Dominion Seed Co. on there.
Oh, nice.
Pop it open.
Cool.
Yeah, this thing's badass, man. It's got like 60, 30, 90 time magnification. It's got LED and UV lights. UV lights are great as you go over your canopy because bug poop and PM will glow under UV light. So handy ass tool. Toss in the sticker as well. It was funny. I asked him, I'm like, at the end of the show, everybody's packing up. I'm like, hey, Duke, I saw you had stickers, man. Can I buy a few? He just hands me a whole bag and says, take
Love
them.
it.
Okay. I'll give them out to people. So got that. And there are beans that are part of this too. This is from Some Bitch Seeds, US grade A Some Bitch Seeds that can't focus right now, but this is the Purple Med strain. Mr. Magpie, who I think is still in chat, has grown this, so he's got some info up there. But yeah, if you are in the US, you can win this Dominion Seed Co. pack. And if you're in Canada, Uncle Rick's got you back. But type Duke into chat because I see we are getting close to the 2-hour mark. So I want to, while people are doing this, there was a lot of areas that we did cover. And I think I'm glad that we did spend a lot of time on the cannabis oil, talking a little bit more about that. Because I think ultimately at the end of the day for serious medicine, that's where people are going. as casual medicine. There's all kinds of things, but for the serious stuff, that's where people turn to. So I appreciate you guys sharing the information and experience on that. I want to ask maybe all of you if you guys have any like solid piece of advice, just like on medicating, or for anybody who's curious, something that just maybe on the medicinal tip, or maybe how it relates to you. So Uncle Rick's not paying attention right now. I'm gonna put him on the spot first. And
Well, I was paying attention.
I know you were looking away though, so I'm like, I'm gonna pick on Uncle Rick because I love you.
Okay, so while you were speaking, I was thinking of a situation, and so I don't know if this is a tip or not, but what I've found is that well, I give away all my cannabis oil, and people are so grateful, and that in itself is enough payment. I don't need money to get rewarded or for doing that. But here's what I found is that some of my patients actually were feeling guilty about asking me for something like that. So well, we talked about it, and Russ suggested that maybe I reach out to them and say, hey, I'm just getting ready to run a batch. What's your situation like? And yeah, because I understood that people feel like a little bit guilty about asking for something like that. So yeah, so enjoy the feeling of helping somebody. But there I go, lost in my. Oh, thank God, Chad's back here.
I was listening the whole time. I got the earbuds in. But yeah, I mean, it's an amazing thing and an amazing feeling for me, and I'm sure everybody who has done this, everybody up here, to know that you have made a positive difference in a stranger's life and improved their quality of life. Like for me, I would love if there was a lot more of that in the world, but to be able to do that, that's just an amazing thing. So yeah, it's a great reason for doing it, Uncle Rick. And I think that's, maybe kind of along the lines of what you're saying. It's like, you're not out here to make money. That's not the mission. It's to improve people's lives. And that's why I do this. And I think all of us do this with this plant. So good one there. I do like that. I ran away though, because as I'm mentioning Duke, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna blast myself here real quick. But I just got in the mail his new shirts came out. Mine came in.
Oh, that's cool.
So I love this graphic from his. I think he still has some up on his website, but yeah, ordered this one because for a couple years I would give him grief about not having any merch, and then probably about a year ago he started putting out merch. He's like, there you go. So I'm like, every time I kind of like have a duty, I'll pick up a shirt every time because I begged him for it for so long. So stoked that came out. And then I got one book I'll show at the end, but we'll continue going with this one of just any last advice or things that really helped you figure out cannabis as a medicine, or something you'd want to pass on to anybody else. I'll just kind of go up the screen here from what I see. LittleEbud, anything for people watching out there?
Well, when I start somebody on medication, I'm usually an asshole because I'm telling that person that they got to stop drinking alcohol, they got to stop drinking caffeine, and they got to stop taking nicotine. If you're not going to do those three things, whatever you call it, RSO, FECO, or cannabis oil, it's not going to work. I don't care. It's not going to work. And I have had one young lady who's on her third round of cannabis or on cancer, I try to get her to take it, but she won't stop drinking, and it's not working. If you're not going to stop doing what's, I'm going to say, causing your illness, it's not going to help you.
Right. That's a good point. It's not a miracle concoction. There has to be many things in conjunction with it, but living a healthier lifestyle is a part of any cure. So I can see how that would play into it. And that's great advice.
Yeah. Some like it, some don't. Some take it, some use it, and it benefits them. You know what I mean? Whoa.
No, that is a very good point, LittleEbud. I wanted to add to it, but I just well, eating healthy as well, you know, like the entourage effect, like, you know, like don't just depend on cannabis oil to be a cure-all. Like, you got to eat properly. You have to exercise. You have to get your sleep. And
tell them, Rick.
Combine all this shit. Okay, and there, I got off my soapbox.
Yep.
All right, Emily, you've had some great advice for people on this show, but do you have any more wisdom to share as you depart? Maybe one thing that you're like, I wish I would have mentioned that.
I mean, honestly, it's just don't underestimate the value you get from the different parts of the plant, of the medicine, whether it's consuming it, you know, whether it's growing it and taking that time to be with yourself, be with your plants. Whether it's, you know, I will sit here at night and roll joints because I can't sleep. I have too much anxiety, insomnia. I'm working through things, and idle hands are the devil's playground. So instead of, you know, a lot of worse things that could happen, I will sit here and I'll roll joint after joint after joint, and until I'm tired enough, you know, smoking them as I go, but eventually I'll pass out and I know I'm going to wake up. So, you know, don't underestimate the value you get just from using it in every aspect.
Excellent. Right on. And Russ, saving you for last here. But again, people, you were talking about RSO earlier. This is a person, if I ever had a question, Russ, you'd be the person that I'd reach out to first. So I appreciate you talking about it. And I know you've talked at length many times. Is there anywhere people can maybe find some of that info or find you? And I'd also like to ask for your piece of advice.
Yeah, the best, thanks, Chad. The best info for RSO is Rick Simpson's website, which is phoenixtears.ca. So if you want information on that, there's all kinds of information on his website. I haven't been there lately, but I'm sure it's still there. I haven't put any information online or anything like that because that stuff kind of tends to get banned. So until stuff gets legalized, maybe then I'll put something out there. But I don't know. I think, and this is just a strategy that's worked well for me, and I think it can work well for everybody. And that's, I have found in my life that the best way to change people's minds on cannabis that are opposed to it is to heal them with it, or heal somebody that they love with it. And I've kind of made a name for myself here in Michigan anyway, and partnered up with groups like the Michigan Weedsters, and where people will reach out to me when they're like somebody has cancer or some big illness, and I'll send RSO right out to them. And it's at no cost, because I don't feel like if you get sick that you should be a burden on your family or burden on yourself even with money. I think that's just sickening. And so, you know, they oftentimes want to reach out and pay for it or whatever. And I said, the only thing you owe me is to get better and tell people about it. And, you know, I get excited about talking about it, and I give people hope about it. When, you know, people that have these terminal illnesses usually are just looking for something, they're grasping for hope. They're looking for that. And it's easy to be that. It's easy to be that when I've seen it with my own eyes and seen it saved my uncle's life. You know what I mean? And my sister's life, and a lot of people in my life. And sometimes people won't try it until it's, you know, too late. And I still don't care. I still give it to them because it's still going. I know that it's going to at least ease their last days in the very least. So whatever they're willing to try, I mean, if it's a 1 foot in the grave or we got a lot of hope, I'm going to tell them I've got all the hope in the world because I don't know how things are going to change, and I'm going to get them that medicine if I have it. And I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like I heard a quote a long time ago. I can't remember who exactly said it, but it was basically, why do you do good things? And it's not like because you're looking for a karma thing where it's coming back to you. It's because you're just putting good into the world, so there's good in the world. And I love that.
Yeah. Here. And I just wanted to add to what you had said there, Russ, that unfortunately, because of the stigma that still surrounds cannabis, so many people, this is cannabis is a last resort. So they come to us when it's unfortunately too late. In many cases, I had a situation where somebody came to me, this friend's wife had stage 4 cancer, and so I got them some oil, and sadly she died about a month later, but that last month she had a smile on her face. She dealt with her last days of life much better. So never too late.
No. And quality of life is important to me and many other people. And thank you personally, and thank you for the community for doing these types of things and helping people out. I think it's education. Ultimately, that will break the stigma. And like Spartan Grown said, there is no better converter than to see the plant in action. So keep educating, keep talking, keep spreading the word, share shows like this, share information when you find it. You don't have to be a crusader. Just try to find the right people and educate. So let's give away these this pack here before we wrap the show up. And then I want to give you guys all last shout outs too. Tell people where they can find you. But let's have you guys do that. Let's do that, and then we'll give away the pack of seeds. So we'll go reverse order. Spartan Grown, is there anywhere people can find you, or you'd like people to tune in?
Yeah, people can find me on Instagram as Spartan Grown, like you see on the screen here. No spaces. I've got copycats, so just Spartan Grown. And yeah, I'm on a lot of different shows on YouTube. If you just do a search on YouTube, it's Spartan Grown, I'm sure stuff will pop up. So I'm not going to list them all. But
this is true.
But yeah, if you want to contact me, you can contact me through Instagram or spartangrown@gmail.com.
Cool.
Just keep
and
growing.
Everybody's Instagram. Sorry. Yep. Everybody's Instagram is down in the show notes too. Anything grows, is that the best spot for you?
Yes, absolutely. Any.thing.grows over on Instagram, or Wednesday nights on the Let's Be Budz YouTube.
Yeah. LittleEbud, Dave, how about yourself?
They can reach me at Instagram, or you can reach at all of us at the letsbebudz.ca website. You can get at any one of us on that platform. So yeah, or Wednesday nights at the Let's Be Budz show.
I will put that one in chat. The letsbebudz.ca is in chat, so you guys can check that out. Buds with a Z, because these are some cool kids and probably the hippest of them all. Uncle Rick, where can people find you?
Well, I think we pretty much covered all the bases. Thank you so much for having us, Chad. Great to see so many familiar faces in chat. Cake in a Cup, Wheezin. Always great to see you guys, and so many new faces. Please check us out. Let's Be Budz, 9 p.m. On YouTube, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Badass. Let's give these away. Good luck, everybody. 184 of you. Holy cow.
Good luck. Good luck.
Good luck. And just hit me up on IG. My link is down in the show notes too if you are the winner. And we will get the beans sent out to you. One more farm. Heck yeah, one more farm. I'll take it.
Right.
Nice
Congratulations.
job. Good win there.
Yep. One more farm. I'm writing Duke Pack. All right, so Duke Pack. Awesome. Thank you for tuning in, guys. And I guess I had one recommendation too. We're talking terpenes. This book is fabulous. It just came out a couple years ago. It's called The Big Book of Terps. And it talks.
How
has
big
all
is
the
it?
cool
Show us
words
that
there.
girth. Oh, I love it.
That's thick. That's thick. But it's written and approved by the right people. You see here we got Raphael Michelin, Dr. Ethan Russo, Susan Tripp, Mitch Earlywine. This is really great compiled book. Kind of what you get in here is so like myrcene. Here's an example, but it gives you the chemical makeup. It tells you a little bit about it. Tells you what to expect. Chemical structure. It lists like all the plants naturally that you would find it in. Again, these are not
Can you
like
link
cannabis
that?
exclusive.
Wow.
Yeah, let me put that biological activity in plants, uses in industry, potential uses in medicine, implications for human health and nutrition. And then it has a quiz and answers about every terpene at the end of each section. So for me, that helps me retain. And I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was on full screen here because I was looking down at the book. So last 10 seconds was probably super exciting for everybody. But yes, I will go ahead and put this into chat right now.
So
And,
I gotta laugh at Dr. Levy Alone's comment. I thought I was watching the Let's Be Budz show.
right? It is. Big. I just typed the Big Budz of. That was my brain doing two things at once. Big Book of Terps. Ross Hudson. Let me grab a link for you. There's actually an official website for it. I will post that rather than an Amazon link. But yeah, this is definitely worth looking at. I picked it up. Again, a great resource, great tool that you can use and learn from. Big Book of Terps. So that's my parting shot. ChadWestport.com. Check that out. Chad.Westport on Instagram. And you are here so you know about the YouTube channel. But thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out. Chat is always awesome. Let's Be Budz. Russ, Emily, Rick, Dave. Thank you guys for hopefully making a difference in somebody's life. I think we can today. So I appreciate that.
Thank you
Much
for
love,
having
guys.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys next time. Party on.
Fuck you, Westport!